To use a YakAttack mount or Scotty mount with the BixFish track system, there are a couple things you need to do, both down here at the end. If you're going to use the T-nut that comes with it, you need to bevel the edge, and I'll zoom in here in a second to show that better. And then this guide that fits into the track is just a little bit too wide, so you've got to file that down. I've already beveled this edge on this nut, on this bolt, but hopefully you can see there. There we go. What you do is with the piece of track that's in your kit, you take the this out, and hopefully if you have a vise, you can hold it in the holder you use that's also in the kit for holding carriage bolts if you want to modify carriage bolts. Okay, so you just use this holder and screw it in and put it in a vise and then file away on the edges or use an angle grinder to knock the edge down, checking as you go to see when it finally fits the track piece that you have, and then you're done. Now if it's a Scotty T-bolt, besides doing that, there's a little collar right up here against the nut, and you'll see it, and you have to file off the sides here on that collar because that won't fit down the center of the track. Now the reason for modifying these is I actually like them better because of the long base. They slide a little easier in the track. However, in your kit you have these bolts, and the 1 1/4 inch works fine with either the Scotty or the YakAttack. There are also 1 inch and 3/4 inch bolts in your kit in case you need more. So the first step is, if you want to use this bolt, is to modify it. For ram mounts, you don't have to modify the T-mount at all, the T-bolt. It's only on Scotty and YakAttack. If you're using RailBlaza, contact me, because what you end up doing is modifying a starport, and I make a little kit of things that will allow you to attach a starport to, track mount to my track. Now I mentioned the other problem or issue is on the YakAttack, and I think maybe on the Scotty too, but you can test. This doesn't fit into the track very well. It's just a little bit wide. So you can take that off, and then with an ordinary file, just give it about that much. It really doesn't take much at all. It's a couple thousandths of an inch is all it needed for clearance, and then just check it. Okay, that's still a little snug. The reason you want it free in the track, this won't hurt, by the way, for using it with other tracks. It won't change the performance at all. Okay, we're getting there, but I still want it to slide a little easier than it does. There we go. So now it'll slide on the track, so I can reposition it without having to pull it all the way out if I don't want to. So then you just put this back into the rod holder, and you're good to go. So that's it for modifying a YakAttack or a Scotty rod holder. To modify a standard carriage bolt to use with the BixFish track, you need to do a little bit of filing. In your kit, there will be a holder like this. It's threaded on the inside. It's to hold a carriage bolt you can go buy. This is a 1/4 carriage bolt. Typically the size you want is 1 inch or 1 1/4 inches. Okay, so you simply thread it into the holder a little ways, doesn't matter, and you try to initially line up the sides of this square collar at the top of it so that they're parallel to this. You put it in a vise, okay? And then you take your piece of track that is included in your kit, and you see if it'll slide on. It turns out it did in this case. So now I can align it. If it didn't fit, I would have visually tried to make sure they were lined up. I would have filed a little bit on two sides, and then I would have put this on. This is actually grabbing the square collar, and what I'm doing is I'm aligning the square collar this way and that way so I know how to file. Then I'd get a file, and I'd file on the edges. It doesn't need much filing, just a little bit. And even if it fits on your track, I would suggest you go ahead and file, because the tracks aren't perfect, and there may be sections that are a little bit skinnier than other sections. So I filed the 4 sides to make them slightly flat. Okay, I can take that out of the vise. And then I'll check it in my little track sample here. And it fits and it slides very, very easily in both directions. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but this is, you can just see it's just barely flatted. In fact, it's very hard to see at all. But that's enough. It's a very close fit, and oftentimes it'll fit without filing. But as I say, I recommend filing. So that's how you modify a standard carriage bolt to use with the BixFish track. Also, make sure you buy stainless steel so they don't rust.